Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great grand episode of the Gridiron Glory podcast here with Will and Tad. We're here to bring you another preseason episode, continuing our preseason coverage and series. We're here to dive into the San Francisco 49ers today. We're here to talk about them, offense, defense, special teams, coaches, and maybe even allegedly a long snapper report, some might say. We'll have to find out, I guess. So, anyways, starting with the quarterback, Brock Purdy. Um, Safe to say that Brock Purdy has been humbled a little bit in his career. Former NFC champion Brock Purdy, who took his team to the Super Bowl at one point, took Patrick Mahomes to overtime. Yes, he was the leader in that as the starting quarterback during that run. But now Brock Purdy has he has taken a step back. Well, I don't want to say he's taken a step back. There's been a lot of things around him that haven't been necessarily his fault, and some people might want to blame Brock Purdy's performance, but in a fortitude of things, there are just simply a lot of things that have happened around him that really haven't been his fault. I mean, talking about let's start with Ricky Purcell, for example, the situation that happened with him last year. He managed to get in 11 games despite getting shot in the chest early in the preseason. George Kittle's been banged up with injuries the past couple of seasons. We know what's going on with Christian McCaffrey. Can Christian McCaffrey stay fully healthy? Trent Williams will be coming back on that offensive line. And obviously, of course, you got Jawan Jennings and Demarcus Robinson. Who's a fairly average receiver who I believe Brock Purdy being the leader that he is. I mean, he's a guy who doesn't go out there try to be flashy or anything like that. He's just a very humble leader with a very solid fortitude, and he he's a very team guy. He's a team guy. He's a team first guy, team first personality, team first player. He's going to do what he feels like he needs to do for the team in the absolute best of fortitudes. So I've always been a fan of Brock Purdy myself. You might have some people on this very podcast even who question his tactics, given the fact that he might have went to a rival school of theirs. But I still believe Brock Purdy has what it takes to be a Super Bowl champion one day in this league. Will it be this year, next year? Maybe not. Some might even be laughing at me right now when I say that, but I do believe this is a man that has everything it takes to win at least one ring in his Super Bowl career. I mean, is it going to happen? I mean, we don't know. We'll see. But he has what it takes. He has the mental attitude and he puts his heart. He definitely plays with heart. You like how he plays with heart, and statistically, maybe he has taken a step back. And obviously, there's been a lot of things that haven't been his fault, like I said. And we'll get deeper into the wide receiver room, but nonetheless, um, I still believe in what Brock Purdy can do for this franchise, and you got to like the big time contract that they signed to in the offseason. I mean, yeah, the 49ers know that they're going to be in for a bit of a rocky road, but they're still nonetheless saying, hey, we believe in you, Brock. We believe you can do this for us.
Yeah, they definitely trust him with that contract. They're staking the franchise on Brock Purdy, and we're going to see how that goes. We're going to see just how a decision like that, staking your franchise on Brock Purdy, goes. That's going to be fun to watch, in my opinion. I'm going to enjoy watching that. So the wide receiver room, very banged up. Injuries for Brandon Ayuk, injury for Juwan Jennings, the unfortunate suspension for Demarcus Robinson. So they do a very logical move and acquire Sky Moore from the Kansas City Chiefs in a trade there. So that is a move that adds some talent to the room, a move that was very much needed to help Brock Purdy perhaps live up to this massive contract they give him. So they do what they can. They give away a sixth round pick and they get Sky Moore in a seventh round pick. So a very interesting move there. for a wide receiver room that needed some help, especially after losing Debo Samuel in the offseason.
Yeah, losing Debo Samuel, I mean that's also huge there. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk obviously questionable with the injuries. Demarcus Robinson with that situation there. Even Jawan Jennings dealing with some questionable things. I mean, bringing in Sky Moore though, Tad, I really like the addition of Sky Moore. I definitely feel like he's a veteran, if nothing else, that can add some leadership into that wide receiver room, add some mentorship. Um, Real quick though, I mean, we talked about so yeah, the wide receiver room is going to be very interesting. Real quick, I want to talk about the running back room.
Yeah.
Um, yes, when fully healthy, and when he plays the full season, where would you rank Christian McCaffrey amongst well, first of all, the running backs in the NFL, and then
Yeah.
second would be overall players in the NFL.
I mean, McCaffrey is a top three running back in the league, no question about it. You can debate if he's going to be ahead of a guy like Derrick Henry or even Saquon Barkley, but I think you can say he's a top three running back in the league. And in terms of overall players, I mean, I think we're going to see that Christian McCaffrey, again, when healthy, is a top 10 player in the league. I think that's not too absurdist to say, and I think honestly he should have gotten a serious look for the MVP the last time he was fully healthy. I think he should have been a more legitimate candidate in that race.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey is a really great player. I mean, but the running back room was interesting last year. You had a few guys that you brought in and out. Um, we know San Francisco likes to run the ball. What's your take, real quick, on Isaac Guerendo, the RB2? I personally am a fan of Mr. Isaac Guerendo. I think he's a very solid running back that can learn a lot from Christian McCaffrey.
I certainly think Garendo is a top half RB2 in the league. I think he is going to continue to show his
He
immense
he
potential
did
here in
come.
his second
He
year.
was he did come on as an RB3 last season with the running back room situation. So he did get time as an RB3 after their RB1 and RB2 both went out, and then he had to step up and take on the RB1 role, which he did a really good job of doing during that time late in the season. Mr. Isaac Garendo, so he has rightfully earned that spot behind Mr. McCaffrey.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely he earned that spot. That's kind of why they traded away Jordan Mason in the offseason. They trust Guerendo to be the guy. And I do want to ask another part, not exactly the running back room, but they do have one of the most experienced and well-known fullbacks in the league. So what do you think of Kyle Juszczyk?
I mean, Kyle Juszczyk. I mean, to me, he's I mean, yeah. First of all, he's definitely a seasoned veteran fullback out of Harvard. So, I mean, that should say a lot within itself, just how hard academically it is to get into that school. Um, yeah, but he started his career off with Baltimore for the first four seasons of his playing career. He's only scored six total touchdowns, Tad, in his career. He has scored at least one touchdown in the last. It does look like 5 seasons. He's scored at least one touchdown, with the exception of 2023. But so I should say, yeah, like 4 out of the last 6 seasons he scored, but he did score one touchdown last year. So you might want to see that number go up. But he's also a fullback that you can also get involved in the passing game as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they like to run him in some routes on some occasions. So definitely one of the better known fullbacks. Obviously, when you look at the offensive line, Trent Williams is the linchpin there, and I'll let you talk a bit about that.
I mean, yeah, this yeah, this offensive line does rank
catch made on the sideline with Brock. Obviously, eludes the rush. It looked like he was sacked for sure.
yeah, this offensive line on PFF does rank number 12th. Obviously, we're talking about Trent Williams. He's about to be 37 years old, so he's definitely not going to be on that offensive line forever. They're saying for the first time in the first 5 seasons he ranked outside of the top two, so that's interesting. He's kind of obviously starting to see a bit of a decline, perhaps, and obviously he definitely dealt with some injuries last seasons, and he's been banged up a little bit. So we'll see if he can bounce back from that. You really hope to see that from Trent Williams because we know, looking at Brock Purdy, we for sure know that Brock Purdy's blind side for sure needs to be protected. Otherwise that could very well be the end of him. And we would hate to see that for sure. Yeah, obviously still an above average offensive line. And they're going to need to go out there and protect their franchise quarterback that just got signed to the big contract. That's the big time job here.
Yes, all good takes on the O line. So looking at the defense, when I see the defense, the first player that immediately comes to mind is the leader of this defense, the leader of the linebacker room, Fred Warner. Now in one of the better linebackers in the league, he ranks very well. He's played very well, and I would like to sincerely ask where you rank Fred Warner amongst defensive players in the league.
Yeah, Fred Warner to me is no question and doubt a top 50 player in the league. Well, on the defensive side of the football, maybe even higher, like top 25. For his position, middle linebacker, he definitely ranks very high in my opinion. I'd say he's a top 5 linebacker in the league for sure. Yeah. Fred Warner, they signed him to the big contract too. I believe Fred Warner is basically the quarterback on the defensive side of the football for this 49ers unit. And as the middle linebacker who just got signed to the big contract, they did that for a reason, Tad. Obviously you go out and you draft Michael Williams, the edge defensive rusher out of Georgia. You go out and you draft Luke Gifford. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't draft him. You add Luke Gifford out of Nebraska on the strong side linebacker side. So, given the absence of Greenlaw and Tufanga on this defense, look for these guys to step up and really come into a big role here. And then obviously the front seven, once considered to be one of the best in football. They now mainly rely on star edge rusher Nick Bosa. And obviously, you want to hope that Bryce Huff can find his old form. PFF is saying here as he reunites with Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, to me, is way more of a coordinator, and I think Robert Saleh is a great defensive-minded coach, and I think he is very well the guy to come out here and try to rebuild this 49ers defense. Touching more on this 49ers defense, looking at the secondary unit here. So we obviously want to see that defense step up just a little bit. Looking more at the secondary for the 49ers. Renardo Green out of Florida State. And we also got Demondre Lenore. Did you have any other takes on the defense, currently speaking, Ted?
It's a very young secondary. That is something that perhaps worries me a bit. I want to see if some of their younger players can step up. Brown, Mustafa, Upton Stout, when they're in the nickel, he's a rookie, so we're going to see how Upton Stout plays, the cornerback out of Western Kentucky, their 3rd-round draft pick. So can Demondre Lenore, can he be a leader? He's kind of the senior in that cornerback room, and I want to see if he can lead this secondary.
Yeah, Upton Stout. I'm excited to see what Upton Stout out of Western Kentucky can do. This was a very defensive draft. We talked about the defense. Very defensive draft. We were talking about Michael Williams, the defensive lineman out of Georgia. Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle out of Texas. Nick Martin, the linebacker out of Oklahoma State. Obviously, some of these guys that might not be in first-string roles, but I would expect them to get some playing time. CJ West, even the defensive tackle out of Indiana. You also went out and drafted Marquez Siegel, the safety out of Kansas State. We didn't touch on the offensive draft picks, but we will in a second. But let's talk about the current defensive draft picks that I just mentioned. Obviously, you did mention Upton Stout. And the biggest one to me, I'm really excited to see is truly Michael Williams. I think Michael Williams is going to come out here in his first season, Tad, and I think he has the potential to put up at least 5 sacks or more.
Yeah, and I mean, he also has the great opportunity to learn from guys like Nick Bosa. You mentioned Bryce Huff earlier. I think they have a chance to take a leadership role and to mentor some of these younger players like Michael Williams. I'm excited to watch him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this 49ers team just has a lot to, be looking up on the, uh, I would say that they're definitely still in a rebuilding state. So we'll see what they can do this season, and they still have some work to do. Real quick, can we talk about the offensive draft picks? Did you have any takes? I'll let you talk about the offensive
Yeah,
draft picks, and
so
then we'll give our
like
takes
you
on them.
said, it was a mainly defensive draft. Their first five picks went to defense. Then you get Jordan Watkins from Old Miss, the wide receiver, Jordan James, the running back from Oregon, Curtis Rourke, the quarterback from Indiana. So they see that they need some help in the quarterback room and go there. So a very wise move there. Connor Colby, the offensive guard from Iowa, Junior Bergen, the wide receiver from Montana. So these are some players. I think these are just mainly developmental type players. I don't think you're going to see a lot of the offensive players on the two deeps. So you're going to have an opportunity here for development, and I think that's the way they went on offense.
Blake Kubiak will be the offensive coordinator as well. So you got a first year offensive coordinator coming in to shape up some of those offensive draft picks there. So yeah, this 49ers team, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. Let's dive into their special teams room really quick, Tad. Um,
Yeah, so looking at the special teams room, we have Jake Moody, the kicker out of Michigan. He will again control the field goals. He had a rough year last year, dealt with some injuries. I expect a bounce back year there. Thomas Morstead, he's a seasoned veteran as a punter. I think he will do a fairly solid job. Looking
yeah,
in the
Thomas Moore said Jake Moody, a young special teams room. And it does look like I'm not. Is this the team you told me that was having a holder battle going on?
No, this is not the team that I was talking about with the holder battle, but yeah,
Yeah,
Thomas
Thomas Morstead, though. Yes,
Morstead, he's the guy. He's a seasoned veteran. He's punting, he's holding, doing all that.
Jacob Crowning and Isaac Arenda will be returning. Jacob Cowing with the punt returner. Isaac Arenda, he'll be stepping into a big role on opening day, returning kicks. And nonetheless, Tad, if the 49ers are to win the NFC West, go the distance, win the Super Bowl, make a playoff run, it's not Brock Purdy who just got signed to a massive contract. No. Please tell me the very player that the 49ers need to do this
I
thing.
mean, they had a very significant addition to their special teams this year. They added seasoned veteran long snapper John Weeks. He had spent his entire career up to this point since the 2008 draft with the Houston Texans. That's 15 years, and now he is branching out to San Francisco, 1 year, $1.4 million contract. So he is a one-time Pro Bowler. He's got all the experience, and I think that John Weeks might just be the one to pull this team together.
Absolutely. So John Weeks there with our long snapper report. Real quick, Tad, before we go, we do have to touch on one quick subject, some breaking news. Yeah, 49ers, Demarcus Robinson has been suspended for 3 games. Yeah, let's see. Yep, got him. It looks like, yep, there was some charges there and everything. Demarcus Robinson has been suspended. So he is expected to miss 3 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, you kind of hate to see that. You were expecting Demarcus Robinson to obviously get some time in there in the wide receiver room. This wide receiver room already with major question marks, and then he gets suspended. So That's just, I don't know. That's just not something you want to see there at all.
Yeah, definitely not. So looking at this team, if I were to predict how I think they go this year, I think this could be a team that could go from around maybe 7 to 9 wins is kind of the area I'm going. Maybe 10 if you stretch it. I just have so many questions about the receiver room.
I would probably go anywhere from 6 to 11 wins. Yep. I'll say 6 to 11 wins for the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of things can happen. I'm not like betting them to for sure win the NFC West. I'm not even going to pick them to make the playoffs, but that is a varying range that I could anywhere within that range. Thank you so much for watching the Gridiron Glory with Will and Tad. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more preseason preview coverage and exclusive long snapper reports.